And all it takes is a little bit of tweaking, and she's like, yes, please. Okay, so this is the chapter where John is saying goodbye to Bran. He's feeling all apprehensive about going up there because Catelyn's an ass. He doesn't want to have to interact with her. This is such a really small thing that it doesn't even need to be said. Like, it's such a like minute thing. It doesn't affect anything in the book at all. But I like how he wrote the word goodbye in this book, like 2 words, good hyphen bye. It reminds me of when you read the old versions of Alice in Wonderland and they say today, T-O/ or hyphen D-A-Y. Like, I don't know why that little detail made me so happy. I don't even know if I've seen that word before and I didn't even give it a second look, but I like that detail. Anyway, John goes to say goodbye to Bran and Catelyn the Ass, like I said. Like, he goes in and the first thing she says to him is to go away. Like, I don't... She's just hateful. There is no other way to describe that other than hateful. It's past the point of jealousy and being hurt. It's past the point of even just being habitual. At some point, it just becomes a choice to be that hateful. I just don't understand it. You see how weak Bran really is. He's taking shallow breaths and his body is becoming emaciated because he isn't able to eat. It's very sad. John is like, fuck this, I'm going to say goodbye to my brother. He goes over to him, says goodbye. He can't hold back the tears. Catelyn has a moment where she's just out of it and she starts talking about how she prayed for Bran to stay with her. Which makes me wonder if he's her favorite. Because her sweet little Bran. She loves all of her kids, of course, but the way she prayed for him to stay there, and he, you know, her prayers were answered, just not the way she wanted them to. But then she turns around, and again, like the second you feel sad for her, or you feel bad for her for a minute, she turns around and says, it should have been you. Girl, oh my God. I was so angry. I was so angry the first time I read that. I was so mad. John leaves. He goes down to the courtyard and sees Robb shouting out orders to people, and he notices how he's grown up a little bit since Bran has fallen and since, you know, he's learned that Ned's leaving. The two of them have such a good, like, brotherly love. Like, the way Robb gives him a fierce hug to say goodbye is so, like, oh, they really, you know, they're brothers. Robb asks how his mother treated him, and John lies and says that she was very nice. Again, he's such a good guy, but Robb is a dumbass and should have known that he was lying. Like, really, like, why would she be, like, nice now? That's hopeful projection. He was hoping his mother would be nice, so he wanted to accept it. So, like, oh, that's good. No, you know better. But he's young too. They're all like 14 years old, so I have to keep remembering that. Robb lets John know that Uncle Benjen is looking for him because they wanted to leave an hour ago, and Robb's like, I got one more thing to do. He goes and gets a gift before he goes to see Arya. Arya's packing her crate with Nymeria, who is being the best pup in the world, and helping her pack. My dog will be eating everything. He gives Arya her sword, and they have a nice little moment where they're saying goodbye, and Arya cries, and he loves his brothers and sisters. It's so great. Well, except for Sansa. And they even have the line when he gives his sword, don't tell Sansa. I like the line in this chapter that says, different roads sometimes lead to the same castle. Who knows? Oh yeah, he's going to that castle. But just before that, I liked his advice to her, like, to run, ride, make yourself strong. Again, he, just like Ned, accepted her for who she was, and she didn't want to be a lady. She wanted to be strong and be a fighter, and he was telling her, like, him giving her that sword was like, it was so sweet. I just love him. She names her sword Needle, and then he leaves, and he says the memory of her laughter warmed him on the long ride north. I cannot wait for them to see each other on the show. I cannot wait for it. I'm so excited. Okay, so we have Daenerys this chapter. Right before her wedding and her brothers being him. And Dani has a thought there are no more dragons. And then that night she has her first dream of the book where she dreams of the dragon. Her brother's being an ass to her. She's covering like blood, and through the flames comes up this dragon, and her brother's gone. I thought it was interesting that it came the night before her wedding. Like, you know, I mean, fate, destiny, call it whatever you want. The night before her wedding is when she has her first dream of a dragon that we know of, I think. And she's beginning her path to be what she's going to be, you know. And it's interesting, like, her brother's an asshole, and then she hears that noise, the ripping noise. She turns around and he's gone, and there's this dragon staring her in the face, like, with a dragon. They had the wedding ceremony. Dani is sitting next to Khal Drogo. I love that, you know, her brother had to sit with Illyrio and Jorah, like, below the Blood Riders, and they were offered the food that Dani and Khal Drogo, like, discard, like, the stuff they didn't want. They got the first picking. And her brother was so pissed off about it. I don't know, I read that part like 3 times. I know it was only like 2 sentences, but I was cracking up. They had the wedding, people die, people having sex. It's a Dothraki wedding, whatever. They go to the gifts, everyone gives her gifts. So Illyrio gives her the 3 dragons' eggs, and then Khal Drogo gives her horse. I wish they had kept this part in the show, honestly, where he gave her the gray horse with the silver hair to match her hair, and then she actually rides it, and you can see her being strong for a second, like being happy and riding the horse. And she comes back and says, you know, tell him he's giving me the win, and he smiles. I wish they had put that part in the show, because it was just such a nice, because this whole time she's just been miserable. It was nice for her to have that one moment before they ride off and consummate their marriage. Now, we go back to what I said about Catelyn, but it's like romance novel stuff. Like, this girl's 13 years old. She's standing there naked outside with a man she's just been given to, and even though he was standing there for a while, like, teasing her or whatever, she's still a child, and like, she was terrified just a couple hours ago. So all of a sudden, all it takes is him teasing her a little bit, and she's like, yes. I do like, however, that it is consensual in the book and it's not rape. But it's just like, okay, we're just going to go with it. Because I wanted to point out, too, how often Dani's saying to herself, like, I am the blood of the dragon. I am the blood of the dragon. She's so scared. She's saying dragons have no fear. So she's trying to, like, instill that into herself. But she is a scared kid. Again, which takes me back to the sex scene. Like, what? But she's so terrified of everything that's happening to her because she has no control over anything. And she has to keep saying to herself, I am the blood of the dragon. She's trying to make herself not be scared. She was just a scared kid starting off. Her evolution made sense over the series. We'll go back to all that stuff later. I just liked how many times she had to say that to herself, like, over and over, because she was just, like, so terrified. Then we come to Ned's chapter. He's sleeping in his tent. Robert wakes him up like before dawn so they can go out riding because he doesn't want to talk with everyone listening around. I always wondered that. Like, where do you go to talk about anything? People can hear through walls and tents, and people are like, you have to ride off to an open field by yourself because everyone can hear everything all the time. Like, it's no wonder kingdoms fall and all that because there's never privacy. There was one sentence in here that I want to talk about, and y'all can argue amongst yourself. I'm not getting into it. I'm just gonna tell you my personal opinion. When they're talking about who Ned's mistress was, or who the girl was that he slept with and had the baby with, Jon's mom, and Robert brings up, you know, Catelyn, and says, you know, you barely knew her, and Ned said, I had taken her to wife. She was carrying my child. I took that to mean I had taken her to wife, she was carrying my child, and I cheated on her. I shouldn't have done that, which would make Rob older than Jon. Like, that sentence, like, to me said that Rob was older. Of course, we don't really know, but I'm just saying. They talk about Ser Jorah, how he tried to sell poachers to get money because Bear Island is a poor island. It's a little house. And he was trying to get money. And Ned is not liking it. Before he could go get Jorah, he took a boat and sailed east or whatever. Ned does not like him. At first he was selling people and now he's a spy. What kind of person is this? Which will make sense to me too. Like, dude, you're just a jerk. Like, really? But we know Jorah, so we love him. But to an outsider, especially someone like Ned, to be like, what are you doing? Really? No, dude, you're not coming back. We talk about Dany. Robert wants to have her killed, of course, because he's Robert. He hates all Targaryens, and Ned's trying to talk sense into him. We'll go back to that in a second. And then we go to the whole thing about how the Lannisters killed Rhaegar's wife and kids, and just brutally like smashed the baby's head against the wall, and killed the little girl with a sword, and like just horrible. Like, who are you people? Ned saying like that was gross. Like, how could you do that? And how can you think that's okay? And Robert's like, I just see them as dragon spawn. And then they go on to Jaime and how much Ned doesn't like him because Jaime was a Kingsguard and he killed his king. Granted, he doesn't know the backstory. So to someone who doesn't know the backstory of why Jaime did that, again, Ned's like, who are these people that you're working with? And Ned realizes that Robert wants to make Jaime Warden of the East, while Tywin is Warden of the West. Hello? You're going to put one family in charge of both sides of the kingdom? You are an idiot. They did have that little drop in there, the Promise Me Ned part, when he was saying, you avenged me on the trident. Ned knows the truth. He's like, you gotta let this go. But he can't say that, you know? He started a war over bullshit. I like that little drop in there. He's like, you avenged her death on the trident, and then the Promise Me Ned right after that. Oh, Jaime, that's what I was talking about. Jaime doesn't want the throne. I mean, really. Honestly, Jaime is a simple man. Like, he likes being a Kingsguard and whatever, but he doesn't want... you never get the feeling that he wants the throne. That's Cersei. Cersei is the one who wants power and everything. Jaime is just like, let me hit things. And Ned tells Robert what he saw when he entered the throne room, that Jaime was sitting on the throne. Like he doesn't want it. And then basically this whole conversation was Ned trying to explain things to Robert and Robert not listening. And the last paragraph, Ned says he's not Jon Arryn. He doesn't have any words of wisdom to depart on him, even though he does. Robert's just not going to listen to him. He sees him as his friend, as, you know, his equal, someone he can trust and who isn't going to lie to him or backstab him. But he doesn't really see him as, you know, an elder, as someone to respect and to listen to the wisdom. He just wants someone who he can trust to run the money, pretty much. So Robert's pretty much going to do whatever he wants, and Ned's just left there holding the purse. Him telling, you know, trying to describe how the Targaryens were killed is falling on deaf ears because Robert is not going to listen to him. He just wants Dany dead, no matter what Ned says. And he's never going to listen to him and respect him as someone he should take too much counsel from, because he sees him as his friend and his brother. And that's when Ned's like, he should have stayed in Winterfell. Yeah, you should have. So next time we're doing Tyrion's second chapter, Catelyn's third chapter, and Sansa's first chapter. And that will probably be up on Wednesday. So the way I'm doing this is like Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. I think that's a good schedule for me for these. And if I can sneak an extra one in there, I will. And that's it. I hope you're having a good day. Have a good week. And I'll see you Wednesday. Bye.